Sean Whaley is furious.
He's upset. 100%. 100%.
Oh, welcome in everyone to Axe Kick Picks, episode 60. Today is September the 8th, 2023. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the golf capital of the world, Joey D. Joey, how you doing today, kid?
Feeling good. Raw dogging it today as you would because I got a fresh cut, man. Growing the hair for a while, I had to call it quits with. I feel I'm a pound lighter.
Hey, attaboy. How's the weather down there? Good?
Doing good, but man, I hope the East Coast doesn't get hit soon by this hurricane it's looking like. So, everyone stay safe in the coming week.
100%. I hope not. I'm going to Monday Night Football here at MetLife. So forecast is rain right now. Hopefully we get a little better news over here, but glad you're doing well. We'll recap UFC Paris. What a crowd Paris had last weekend. And then we'll go down under for UFC 293 in Sydney, Australia. Loaded fight card there. We'll break down everything, some MMA news towards the end, and then 10 seconds left with Joe towards the end. But, Joe, let's start in UFC Paris. What a crowd from the first fight all the way to the main event with their hometown guy, Ciryl Gane, taking care of Sergey Spivak in the second round. Plus 700 knockout. Hey, you didn't have something in the main event. I had to go and do it. So, hey, 3 weeks in a row, we're getting the main event, the method of victory. But Ciryl Gane, man, what a performance, what a bounce back. I think he needed this. And Sergey Spivak just didn't look right in the second round and eventually got put away. What are your thoughts on Ciryl Gane?
I needed you this past week, man. Definitely did. I had a historically bad one, but I digress. At the end of the day, Ciryl Gane is a top contender in the heavyweight division. Sergey Spivak, I don't necessarily think that I can call him a fraud. I've seen people say that. But I just think that Ciryl Gane has improved. He had to go through John Jones and Ngannou out wrestle him. I think he had to work on it. And in probably his whole camp, that's all he worked on. The dude's such a significant striker that he doesn't have to, I forget who was it. It might have been like Cowboy Cerrone and even Max Holloway, like, we don't spar because you know how to fight already. They've been fighting for so long. It's like, let's work on drills, fundamentals, and staying in good shape. So maybe that's what Gane's plan was for the whole camp. And, man, it worked out well. That dude looked lightning fast and sharp, take down the fence on point. And you called it, man. Like you said, plus 700 carrying the team for a third week in a row, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought he was light on his feet. I thought he was quick. He had the striking advantage. And we saw some takedown defense. Sergey Spivak late in the round, he kind of just dove, I thought. It wasn't like a real technical takedown, but
desperate, right?
Yeah, very desperate, I would say. That's a better word. And, he stuffed it, and he made it stay on the feet. So, I love it. Ciryl Gane. Tom Aspinall was in the crowd spinning it forward. Is that the number one contender fight, or do you see Ciryl? I think Ciryl Gane needs one more fight before the title, whether it's Sergey Pavlicek or Tom Aspinall. But spinning it forward, what do you see next for the Frenchman?
Yeah, I agree. These two guys are in great positions to contend for a title next. Tom Aspinall facing against Ciryl Gane. I'm hard-pressed to think who's going to be favored in that one. Because I do think that the striking advantage may lie with Ciryl Gane. But in terms of the total package, I think Tom Aspinall may have a better ground game. Yeah. I just want to see how it's going to, be and where it's going to be. I also threw out the idea that is there a chance that, they pass them up entirely and go with Jailton Almeida, who's on an amazing win streak. So I think that theory is out there as well because you got Sergey Pavlicek. There's a lot to be said for that heavyweight division. I'm glad we got to see them on display at UFC Paris. It was a good showing by Gane, but I think that is the next fight you make. And what I would like to see, and I think what most fans want to see, is Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane.
So I was looking on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, but I was seeing something. Yeah, X. So I think Tom Aspinall, I agree. I think he'd maybe be a minus 150, minus 180. I do think he'd be a short favorite over Ciryl Gane. Right? Yeah, Tom Aspinall. Just because I think overall he has more of a complete package than Ciryl Gane. But I do think that is the fight to make next. Jailton Almeida, he has a fight night in Brazil. Yeah, against Curtis Blades. And right now, Jailton Almeida is a minus 230 favorite against Curtis Blades. Jailton Almeida is the real deal, but almost a $3 favorite against one of the best wrestling heavyweights. That's kind of insane, Joe.
I think he has a lower strike absorb rate than Hamzat did in his first couple fights. So it's impressive. He hasn't gotten hit.
Yeah. So overall great performance. He gets to 50K. Awful. Did you see? I don't know if you saw the report, but his apartment or house got
Yeah, and over 150 euros worth of stuff, man. That's a lot of stuff.
And I've read now football players, well, soccer players in France, this is a common theme because
They know when they're gonna be out and not home.
and it's just a scumbag thing to do. I feel
Yeah.
for him, and it's just a shitty thing to do. So I hope that the people get caught, and I hope he gets his stuff back and he has some insurance. But yeah, just a shitty way to end a really good night for Ciryl Gane. But
We'll get on the phone with Interpol.
yeah, exactly. Switching on over to the co-main, our girl Rose Namajunas, she loses a unanimous decision to
She's a
Manel
tough
Fior.
chick, man.
Yeah, compromised within the first 2 minutes. She broke her finger. I don't think it was the best corner advice from Pat Barry, if I'm being honest. I mean, I
don't
went
know
back.
what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but to be honest, she's a tough cookie because she stayed through the whole fight. And to be honest, I thought it was a split decision initially, and then I went back and I watched it without sound. And to be honest, my bias aside, I thought Rose won the fight. And
Wow.
yeah, and I don't know. I thought she was dodging a lot of the things and the punches and strikes that Manel Fior was connecting on. It was like barely connecting, in my humble opinion. So I don't know. Credit to her, she did win the fight, but I don't know. I felt like it's kind of like an asterisk. Rose was compromised, but what'd you think
Yeah,
of the fight?
that could qualify as an asterisk. Not what Mike Tirico said last night, but
Wow.
at the end of the day, it is a good win for Manafiro coming on top of. She came a
It's
long
an
way
ex-champ.
from. Yeah, she came a long way from kickboxing. To face Rose Namajunas in mixed martial arts, and regardless of Rose moving up, I think, like you said, Rose looked really good. And I think it might have been the hindrance of the pinky in the first round is why she wasn't able to go full tilt. But Manon did her job, and she's a force to be reckoned in. And it's 125, right?
Yeah. Before spinning it forward, do you think the weight was an issue? Because I don't think Rose was too small for the weight class.
No, I think she fit fine, and I actually think she's maybe like a perfect build to go between
Yeah.
both and not have many weight cut issues. So, she could be a stalwart for both division, and that's actually something that the UFC needs. They're kind of desperate for Rose to continue fighting, honestly, and that's why I said I don't know what happened with the corner advice, because I saw all the workings of Trevor Whitman going into this fight, and Pat Barry was in the corner, and he overrid everything that they've worked on. So, a lot of people said that maybe Rose should shy away from Pat, and I know they've been together for a little longer than what could be deemed okay in the world. But in terms of her career, it might be best that she does so and moves away from her boyfriend in terms of him being her cornerman, being her manager, her coach. It's just not working, honestly. And Pat Barry was not that type of intellectual fighter, IQ driven fighter. The dude was just, throw caution to the wind and brawl. So
Yeah.
it's not the best game plan for a Rose Namajunas who, like I said, thinking coming into this would utilize her wrestling, which she can, and her grappling and all that wasn't on display.
Yeah. And now does this win? And if the UFC wants to go with Manel Fior next for the title, you don't want to kill off a 24-year-old Erin Blanchfield. She will be there. But if you hurry up and just give Erin Blanchfield the title, which I do think she deserves, you have the possibility of ruining a superstar and cutting her quick. I think Manel Fior does get the next title shot, and they say to Erin, hey, you are next regardless. We just want to see, Manel Fior is older. She doesn't have as much time as Erin Blanchfield does in the sport. So I understand if the UFC does want to go this way, but do you think this win over an ex-champ gets her this title shot?
It could, but the way that the UFC wants to work it, and my hot take on the matter is it's going to depend on this next fight after this pay-per-view with Noche UFC Noche between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. If Valentina wins, we're getting a third fight, Bill.
100%.
And we're going to see Manafiro square off against Erin Blanchfield. That's what the UFC is going to be forced to do, because you're not going to have these two idle fighters wait a whole nother year, because you have to wait for this fight to happen. Then depending on what happens with that fight, they're going to have at least 6 months to recover, and then they'll have to fight again. So in that time span, we're going to need a fight, and we're going to need a title eliminator, and that's going to be between Manafiro and Erin Blanchfield.
And I think Erin Blanchfield is an awful stylistic matchup for Manel Fior.
As much as she couldn't get it done with Talia Santos, I feel like Talia had she had a good game plan going in, and you also have to fear the fact that she's a BJJ black belt herself.
Yeah.
Manafero is not. So it is a battle of styles. It's a clash of styles if they fight.
And they're both of them are begging for Alexa Grasso to win. They can't have Valentina win because if Valentina wins, they're going to run the trilogy. But can't wait for that next week. That's going to be an amazing card. And third fight, Benel Saint Denis, the Navy SEAL, man.
I don't have a star, bro.
Oh my God, he's like the Mike Malott in Canada. But
yo, good drop, new name drop right there.
Maybe not as star as Ciryl Gane, but man, he's up there. I don't want to go too much, but man, this guy looks like a future champ, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, he is so durable that, I love guys who have a military background. We know we love our boy Neil Magny, but some of my two favorite fighters, American guys, but nonetheless, the Korean Zombie, South Korean Army. At the end of the day, these guys are great. Brian, Stan, Tim Kennedy, guys who serve their country. They're a force to be reckoned when they get inside the cage, octagon, ring, whatever it is. That's what you're seeing from BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis. The dude is vicious. Like I said, he's super durable. I want to see he just passed Thiago Moises. That's a big step up in competition in terms of the rankings. I want to see who he's going to square up next. If you have it in front of you, do you have any names for me? Because I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I mean, I'm looking at the top 15 in the light heavyweight division. You got some fucking killers. Like, maybe you look like a Dominic Reyes to put you over there. He's sitting at 13. Alonzo Menfield at 14. Dustin Jacoby, he just got a big win. Maybe you square up Dustin Jacoby. He's 15th.
Dude, that light heavyweight, brother. These guys are lightweights.
Oh,
Benoit Saint-Denis is not a light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, excuse me. So
lightweights, yes.
Yeah, Benel Saint, he's not ranked. So maybe a 15th ranked Diego Ferreira. You got Steamroll Favola at 14. Maybe Jalen Turner coming off a tough loss.
Nah, you know what? Let him fight Patty.
Oh my God. Why is everyone calling for him? Do they really think he's gonna put you over the edge?
But no, I think people think this is an easy fight. I think they're seeing holes in Patty's game.
Yeah.
And they just want to capitalize on his name. That's what this game is, It's like unfortunately a bad analogy or metaphor is like crabs in a bucket, pulling each other down to get on top of one another. So
no, but you're right. BSD, man, he's a future star in the making. France has one, and just the way that crowd just roared for him. I thought I was fucking French for a sec, but it was amazing. I'm glad they got fight of the night. I guess the knockout in the second round. Volkan Oezdemir, first round submission, man, against Anthony Smith. No, I'm kidding. It's Bodang Guskov. But Volkan Oezdemir, man, he is the real deal. From Switzerland, I thought it was a great transition, and then he puts him away in the first round. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I had it opposite. I really thought I was getting a submission out of Bogdan. You don't see it much from Volkan, but the level of competition, I should have, you get the paralysis but over analysis sometimes, and that was exactly in this one. I had Volkan, and I'm like thinking, something's got to give here. He's going to lose maybe one against a no name, so to speak. And I like I said, I paralyzed myself with that one. This was Volkan's fight to lose, and the fact that he really looked like he dominated. I know there were some good exchanges there, but man, I really expected the opposite. That maybe Volkan's ground game and grappling wasn't as efficient, but he hurt the guy, he hurt Bogdan, and got that rear naked choke.
Yeah, Volkan Oezdemir, he is no joke. I really respect his game. And like you said, it just came down to the experience for me and his competition. The fight before that, William Gomes, controversy stoppage time, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on there? Do you think it was low? I didn't at first, but the more they fucking showed it in slow-mo, I guess they have a case, but I don't know.
Here's the thing. If we go back to a week or two, Alexander Usyk fought Daniel Dubois. They just filed an appeal for that fight. And so if you thought that was a low blow, then this was a low blow. I was on the side of that was not a low blow. And so I think the ref got it right. That was not a low blow in my eyes. And, you got to keep fighting. If the referee's telling you in your face, regardless of you getting eye poked or anything, it's unfortunate, but you got to keep going because he has the right to stop the fight, and that's what he did. I mean, there's no appeal coming out of this because they're going to look back at the tape and they're going to be like, there was no foul, actually. Yeah. So this, beyond a reasonable doubt, that was lucky in the aspect of what you asked me, because that was the last leg of the parlay, and it
Mhm.
luckily hit. Once I saw they called the fight and William Goes is the winner, I was
Let's
like,
go.
ka-ching. So, you know
Something
what?
went right on that fight.
Controversial, but I hopefully gave you my perspective on the matter, and we
Yeah.
came out on top, luckily.
Yeah, I thought it was a good. I didn't think it was low. I think it was so damaging and hurt him so much. He tried to play it off as if it was low. And, they all have the appealing process. But, Joe, how many times does that actually get overturned? Not a lot.
I'd be honest, close to none. I'll be honest.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's all good and well. And I understand, you're going to go out on your shield. But, there's nothing
That's
really.
something I would have to do some research on, because I bet you it would statistically depend state by state and commission by commission. So
yeah, and each commission is different in every state. But no, overall, I thought it was a good card. Overall, I had a really good night. 7-1 or 7-2. I missed out on Rose, and then the Irish guy, the heel, Lock.
Yeah, he did not do too good there, man. And
Bad
for
read.
it's all right. He had everything working for him going into the fight, but it just didn't pan out.
Bad
the way we did. I
matchup.
didn't expect a lot of French fighters coming out on top, but we did. We had a lot. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total French fighters won on the UFC Paris card. So congrats to them. They did their nation proud.
Yeah, so looking to bounce back, looking to stay strong for UFC 293. But before that, quick word from our sponsor tonight. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC 293, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. Joe, we just got a shipment from Viva sponsoring the tailgate for Monday Night Football, baby. Can't wait.
Gotta love. You're gonna have a whole little tent for Viva out there in MetLife. Man, I wish I could be there, man.
Yo, you'll be there in spirit. We're going to FaceTime you. You'll have some as with us. But let's get to it. UFC 293 in Sydney, Australia. First time going down under since 2017. Woo! Early prelims start at 6:30. Prelims start at 8 over here. And main card starts to end your night, 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. Joe, I will kick it to you.
That's crazy. You said 2017, man. It feels like yesterday they were there. It really does.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy how time flies. So, hey, man, we kick it off in the welterweight division here to start off UFC 293. You got Kevin Jesse, which I'm confused. I see him as a French fighter, but I see he represents Australia. He's taking on another Irishman, Kiefer Crosby. And I think Kiefer Crosby is a tough dude. He's a stand-up guy. I feel like he's going to want to keep the fight standing. I've seen fights from Kevin Jose. He's also capable of keeping a fight standing, but I think his path of least resistance is to try to find the fight to the ground. I just don't think that he's going to find success there. I'm going to stick with the Irishman. I know we've been burned a couple of times, and I've been trying to stay away, but I can't. I'm going to go with the Irishman with a dog in the first fight. I like something maybe within the distance, but let's just take the dog on the money line. I got Kiefer Crosby opening up the card at plus 135. I think he can get the job inside the distance, but like I said, I played it safe on the money line.
I love it.
Thank you there. And, unfortunately, Shane Young in this next one, he missed weight by a substantial margin.
3.5 pounds.
I wonder what they're going to do. Did they call?
They said no. They said the fight's on, but he's just 30% of his purse.
Or 30% purse.
30.
Yeah, and I know Izzy's the one that came up with that. And someone said, is it only apply to other fighters outside of City Kickboxing to have their purses deducted if they miss weight?
Quiet.
At the end of the day, they have made rules and they follow them.
And City Kickboxing, when was the last time they missed weight?
Honestly, I think it was only Shane Young a couple years back. That's it.
Exactly,
so there you go.
So.
Yeah, it's a room full of killers. You can't do that. But Shane Young, I do like when he comes with the face paint. He's taking on a dog in Gabriel Miranda. You look at the statistics, you look at the resume. Shane Young never lost a fight by submission. Gabriel Miranda, 15 plus submissions in his career. It's hard for me to say that Shane Young's going to get caught. But I got to go with another dog here. I got to go with the
Wow.
Brazilian taking a trip across, man. At plus 145, Gabriel Miranda. I've seen some footage. I like what I see. And regardless if he can't get the submission because Shane Young's just good enough to get out of him, he can stay on the top and, dominate this fight on the ground. So
Going
I
with
got
dogs
two.
early.
Yeah, I got two dogs early there. And that'll take us right into the next one. A lot of people don't even want to call him by this name. So I'm going to call him by what everyone is calling him. Blood Diamond. He's taking on, and I'm not even going to call my boy who's fighting him by his first name either, because the other nickname is also incredible. Chuck Buffalo, baby. And
Chucky Buffalo.
You can't catch me fading a man whose nickname is Chuck Buffalo.
Oh
and on the money line, he's pretty favored. And I got him straight minus 285, a little late in the week, but I'm just going to play it because I'm just confident in a guy. I don't think Blood Diamond's that good. I've heard a lot of stuff, a lot of reports that he's not. He had some knockouts, but he's lost 2 straight. And if he drops a third, I think he gets cut. So,
I mean, if this guy wins, just imagine John Anik, Chucky Buffalo, fucking knockout. I can't wait. This guy's a nuts. But yeah, minus 325. You got to take him inside the distance or something. But I think he gets the finish.
Or involve him in a parlay.
Yeah.
I might cook up something after seeing these lines at the end of it all. I might have something for you. Interesting. As you said, you mentioned Anthony Smith fought before. We have Kelvin Gastelum on the card here.
Yeah, right.
Nasrat Haqparast is my boy. He's taking on Landon Quinones. Just past season's tough contender. He was on
look good.
Connor. I think he was the number 1 pick.
And lost in like 20 seconds.
And he lost pretty good. He's getting another shot. Nasrat Haqparast is not bad at all, man, but give me Connor's boy.
Oh, my God.
Give me the biggest dog that I have. I'm taking Landon Quinones to shock us all and be like, bro, that's why he was the number 1 pick for Connor's team. And I just think that his opponent could get caught. I really do. I think Nasrat Haqparast has gotten slept a couple times. I know he's done this. Drew Jober got him. I know for sure. And a couple other guys. But, man, I think that's his way out, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's lost a couple by knockout. I think that Landon Quinones could catch him. He also has good grappling. I know Nasrat as well. It's a really good fight. I think he's going under the radar big time. But give me the big dog. I got the big plus number here. It was that was the most enticing thing for me in the board, kind of the biggest long shot, and the odds reflect it. Sorry I rambled on there, but let's go right into the next fight. We got Jamie Mullarkey taking on John the Bull Makdessi. That's my boy. I've been following John Makdessi for a while. Unfortunately, when back in the day he fought Lando Venati, got that highlight reel knockout. But the dude's a gamer. He comes to fight every time he goes out, shows out. My issue was the age discrepancy. John Makdessi's 38, Jamie Mullarkey's 29. A lot of people say Jamie Mullarkey's the one to lose on this card. I don't see it. I think I'm going to go with the age discrepancy and take Jamie Mullarkey here. Minus 250 is when I got him. I do think this is a decision fight, though. I see both guys being able to get it to the judges' scorecards. And if I'm going with him, I'll be honest. If you want to get the value out of Chuck Buffalo, maybe squeeze him in with Jamie Mullarkey. That could be a 2-legger. Let's see if I squeeze a third on there as well. We go into the next fight. I talked to you before the show. I think this could be, honestly, the people's main event because how close these guys are. Chet Mariscal is a beast. And Jack Jennings is no joke. I know he had a controversial decision against Jamal Emmers in his last time out, Jack Jenkins did, but the dude is incredible. Honestly, I've looked at all his footage. He has a lot of finishes, and the times that he went to decision, he's dominated those fights. I'm very torn in this one. I really am, because as much as I like Jose Mariscal, I really do. And the showing that he had last time, he looked excellent. He beat Trevor Peek, and everyone counted him out. I think his ability to handle the power that he had, I know Trevor Peek isn't as technical, but I just think that the way that he handled the power in his last fight, I think he might have too much for Jack Jenkins. I'm going to go with the underdog again. I got dogs barking. Give me Chet Mariscal on the money line at plus 175. I think this could be a bad matchup. I know he had to use the box to get the weigh in, but that shows he could be a bigger guy than Jack, and he actually made the weight. He didn't miss it, so I'm impressed by that. I got Chet Mariscal plus 175.
Yeah, Jenkins coming from that Contender Series 2-0 in the UFC, facing Chepe Mascow. You know, he won his debut against Trevor Peek. And no disrespect, but Trevor Peek can make a lot of people look good. I mean, he's not the most talented technical fighter, in my opinion, on the roster. And I like Jack Jenkins. I think the leg kicks are going to be really deadly. I don't think there'll be a finish. I think Jenkins, he's too good of an athlete to let up 4 takedowns like Chepe did against Peek. I think Jenkins is just better everywhere. I think he's going to chop those legs down. Should be a solid fight. I'm going to take Jack Jenkins via decision at plus 138.
I like that. And if you're kind of torn between the two of us, maybe the fight to go to distance, because I do see that out of the other corner as well.
Yeah.
So this fight to reach the distance, I would expect to be favored. Do you see anything?
So let me get this lines up. Fight to go to decision minus 168. Yeah.
Yeah. So I that's a safe bet for everybody. You have to lay a little chalk, but it's not too bad. Not bad at all. Let's go right into the main event of the prelims, man. And if he comes, we saw him in Charlotte, bro. He was electric. And if he comes out to the most electrifying man in sports against theme song, the Rock's theme song
at home,
you can't fade Carlos Ulberg in this spot. And I've heard people saying like, "Oh my God, don't bet on him." You know, this and that, bro. His check hooks, the way he blocks stuff, and he's just a super athlete. I can't fade the man in this spot. I do like Da Jung. I do. Don't get me wrong. South Korean, super strong, super talented, but I think he's in a bad spot, and traveling all this way, I just didn't bode well for him. So with Carlos Ulberg on the money line being such a massive favorite, almost $3 now, I got him at minus 245. I would go with the 2-leg parlay between Chuck Buffalo and Jamie Malarkey, and then add a third, put Carlos Ulberg for a 3-leg parlay. I don't have the odds on it, but I bet you would get some better odds than them all being $2 to $3 favorites.
Yeah, three leg money line parlay with Chucky Buffalo, Jamie Malarkey, and Carlos Ulberg plus 147 right now.
I like it. That's good odds, man. That really is.
I like that as well. And by the way, hide your girlfriends, hide your wives. You don't want them to watch this fucking fight. I mean, this guy.
Keep him far away from Carlos Ulberg.
Oh my God. He got asked to do I guess the version of Bachelor in New Zealand. And he was like, nah, like I just meet girls organically at the bar. I'm like, dude, I fucking love this guy.
I love this guy. Yeah.
But yeah, my girls are not watching this fight. He'll just, with his gold skin, he'll just take our girl. So respect to Carlos Ulberg, but man, the guy has fucking cinder blocks in his hands. He's won 4 in a row, 3 of them by TKO. And I agree. I like Da Jung as well. He's a solid fighter, but I just don't feel like he has enough to beat Carlos Ulberg. He's a little inconsistent from my liking. He has some skill, but on the feet, I think he's a major liability. And Carlos Ulberg, I think we'll be able to pick him apart. He's so fucking good. We saw him live in Charlotte, how he picked him apart. I love how his whole team is training with him for this card. It's basically a city kickboxing card. But I do think this is a good matchup for him. He's fast, he's accurate, and I think he could pick apart Da Jung. So give me Carlos Ulberg via KO TKO at minus 143.
Yeah, as much as we love Da Jung, the fact that we like him that much, if Carlos Ulberg has an impressive win over him, it shows he's the real deal. That's what it proves. 100%. So here we are, guys. We made it. We're in Sydney for UFC 293, headlined by Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland. I mean, I've watched the press conference. I've been watching the weigh-ins. I think it's been entertaining. So let's get into the first fight. We got Tyson Pedro taking on Anton Turkalj. I'll be honest, I've been live on MMA Twitter, and I've been seeing a lot of people taking Anton Turkalj, but I'm fading the man on a simple fact of his nickname. How could you back a man whose nickname is the Pleasure Man? Okay, and then when they asked him about it, shit got weird. Yo, Tyson Pedro was not with it. I'm with my boy Tyson Pedro at home. I think he's going to put it on the Pleasure Man and show him what's up. He's a plus 100. I think it's close to a pick'em fight now, but that's when I got Tyson Pedro. I would go as far as taking him via KO TKO as well. I like what you said with Carlos Ulberg in a fight before. I'm getting amped. We're working up to the main event here. I'm getting more amped. But yeah, give me Tyson Pedro here.
Yeah, real quick on the story. They asked him why his name was the Pleasure Man. He always was stealing his friend's girlfriend. So he was just like, well, I got to learn how to fight if I keep trying to take these women from my friends. And yeah.
Boys, if your boy goes and steals your girlfriend, that's not your boy.
That's not your boy. Yeah. So, pleasure, man. Yeah. I mean, Tyson Pedro coming off that split loss. Anton Turkirkin 0-2 in the UFC and maybe looking for a must win here to stay in the UFC. And you know what, Joe? Give me the dog Turkin on short, minus 107 straight up. You know, this guy fought Jolton Almeida on short notice and Vitor Petrino in his 2 fights in the UFC. Let's give this guy a break, all right? He's fought the who's who, and I think he's live here because I just don't trust Tyson Pedro. He beat up on Henry Hucksucker and these bums, and you know, then he lost an unspirited split decision loss in his last fight. I just don't think he's there mentally right now. I understand he's home, but you know, this guy, Eitan, he just fought 2 Brazilians who took him to the ground, beat him up. I think he's learned from those fights. I think he has a striking advantage. I'm not a fan of Tyson Pedro. Give me the dog, baby. Turkin on the money line, minus 107.
Yeah, man, I'm basing it solo on principle with that one. You know, I heard a lot of reports, and you've seen it, that Tyson Pedro gasses, you know, after the first round for sure. But at the matter of fact, you said the 2 matchups that Anton Turkirkin had get. Now here's his third where he has to fly to Sydney and fight Tyson Pedro, who's going to bring everything in the first round. I don't see it ending well for him. But like I said, I respect it. And you can see on the technical side with the resume how that makes sense. Because it's a good – I've seen it. A lot of Anton Turkirkin picks, so you're not alone.
Let's go.
You're not alone. And this is another one that is a makeup fight. We have Justin Tafa taking on Austin Lane, where the eye poke incident happened before. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I had Austin Lane the first time around. And when that happened, I was depressed. I was like, oh man, I honestly, they're gonna run it back or he's getting cut. I remember saying it to you. I was like, right out of that happened, they're gonna cut him. I was like, they're not giving him a chance. But, you know, unfortunately, Justin Tafa has faced some ex-NFL players. I think Austin Lane is one. And he hasn't done all too well. But Justin Tafa, I do like the knockout prowess. I just think that we're going to get all this momentum at home. So I'm taking the home. I'm taking Justin Tafa. I got him here at the money line. It's minus 205. But I would not be scared to go with a first round KO, TKO with Justin Tafa because that's his bread and butter. He's had walkout KOs before. And if you catch somebody early in the first round, that's where your most power is going to be. Austin Lane, that has happened to him before.
Austin Lane, 5th round draft pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, I mean, I poke that if that's the way you want to do it. I mean, 29 seconds into the first fight, I mean, it was a bad eye poke too. It was like almost blood coming out for Justin Tafa. And to be honest, the way Justin Tafa and his team were acting after the fight, they think the eye poke was on purpose. You know, I don't know if that is the case, but that's all just more motivation and bulletin board material for Justin Tafa.
That's speculation. That's not true. There's no way that was intentional.
You know, I'm not here to say it was or it wasn't, but hey, if that's what a guy needs to get over and get a little extra bulletin board material, I'm for it. You know, he's fighting in his home backyard. I know the fight only lasted 29 seconds, so it's hard to cap on that. But, you know, from what I saw, I didn't like the head movement from Austin Lane. He was kind of leaving his head up there a little bit. And if Tafa gets his hands on you, he's going to put your lights out. Give me Justin Tafa via KO, TKO at minus 135.
How do you feel about the first round KO, TKO?
I like it. I just don't know because Austin Lane is a tough guy, and
he's
you know,
taller, and he's a lot harder to hit in terms of the height.
Let me see.
Justin Tafa tall guys before he has.
Justin Tafa to win in the first round plus 150.
Is that just round one win?
Just round one win, but if Tafa wins KO, TKO in round 1 plus 160. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see a submission coming from either one. But, yeah, I think this fight ends via KO, TKO. Decision makes me think it would be Austin Lane if it winds up going to the judge.
Hopefully it lasts longer than 29 seconds.
I would like to see that, but maybe, you know, if we still get in the first round, you know.
Yeah.
So let's go. Here we go. I got the next
your
one.
boy.
And it's our boy, man. Manel Cap. He's taking on Felipe dos Santos, who's making a So basically, what I see here is Felipe dos Santos was supposed to be on the Dana White Contender Series, and he got a huge jump in his thing. He's going to take on Manel Capet, man. This is a fight for Manel Capet to lose. He's rubbing everybody the wrong way. He's taking on, bro.
Yeah, no, I got this one, Joe. So Manel, he's rubbing people the wrong way with the press conference, his little beef with Kai Kara-France. He was actually supposed to fight Kai Kara-France. Instead, he will fight Charles Oliveira's teammate, Felipe Dos Santos. Manel Cap, he's had a lot of his fights canceled, whether it's his fault or it isn't, but a lot of his fights have been canceled. He's won 3 in a row. I do think there is value on Dos Santos, but Manel Cap, he's very disciplined in all of his fights, and I think you gotta take him in this fight. He's more consistent in his fighting, and he has a lot of confidence. You've been seeing Manel Cap's confidence this whole week, so I don't think Dos Santos has the experience or the overall talent to beat Manel Cap right now. He has good jiu-jitsu, as he should, being in Charles Oliveira's gym, but it's not on Charles Oliveira's level. I don't think this fight is touching the ground. I think Cap, he's patient, he hits harder, he's more accurate. And to be honest, I think he might be fighting for a title next season or next year. He's like 2 fights away. Give me Manel Cap via KO TKO at -110. I think he puts him
I love that play, brother. And excuse me, I know you'll probably cut it in the audio, but for our live viewers, man, dealing with the kids. But at the end of the day, man, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Manel Cap, I think he is a decorated striker. What I've seen him in other promotions, man, he ices, dude. And nobody wants to face him in the UFC. He's had about 6 canceled fights since his arrival in the UFC. And I think that's why he's at wit's end. He's calling out Izzy. He's stirring all this trouble up. And my point about Felipe Dos Santos is this is a massive, you talk about steps up in competition.
Yeah.
This might be the biggest one I've ever seen. Because like you said, Manel Capet very well after this fight, may one more fight be away from a title. Dos Santos, this is a debut, baby. So welcome to the big show. You got to take on one of the most dangerous strikers in the flyweight division. I got Manel Capet at -380, way too much chalk. I'm with you. Give me you had a via KO TKO. I would be, you could play it safe and go inside the distance, but I agree with your analyst. This is not going to the ground as much as Felipe Dos Santos may want it to be. Manel Capet is too educated a striker and too good to take down the fence for that to happen. So I'm all over it with you, both on the same side. I love this fight. Manel Cap is one of my favorite fighters. And I know he rubs people. A lot of people don't want to play it the wrong way. A lot of people want to see him lose. You're in for a rude awakening come Sunday morning in Sydney Sunday, and Saturday night for us. So, Manel Capet, I'm all over it.
So, -175 for inside the distance for Manel Cap. Better than, obviously, the money line, but still paying a little juice. My thing is for Felipe Dos Santos, it's a big step up, but it's an amazing opportunity if he goes out there and shocks the world.
You always got to worry about those who have nothing to lose. That's for sure.
Yep, 100%.
Love that, man. And so, honestly, we'll go into the co-main event here. And, we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a lot of the New Zealanders and Australians come on top here. And this I was so torn. I'm like, man, looking at it, the way that Tai looked in his last fight, Tai Tuivasa, man. Love the guy. He looked rough in his last one. And, it was a bad match. It was a tough one. Sergey Pavlovich is a destroyer, man. It really is just like that. And now he's going back to face another Russian in Volkov. And these guys, like you said, we're just talking about Manel Capet going off with Izzy. And here's Tai. Hi, Volkov, in the middle of all of this. So how could you not love this guy? I was originally, I'll be honest, straight up, I was going with Volkov. I just thought, like I said, the pedigree that this guy possesses, what I saw out of Tai in his last fight, and like I said, Sergey Pavlovich is a destroyer, but he's not as technical. Volk can teep kick you, keep things on the outside, but we've seen in the past Volkov get caught. And that's what I'm hoping for, man. You thought UFC Paris was loud? Get ready for Sydney, Australia's crowd with a shoey from Shoey Tuivasa, baby. Yo, Bam Bam, he's taking it. I'm going with the big dog here. Co-main event, this crowd's going ballistics. Money line +205. The way he gets out of this is via KO TKO, but I played it safe because there's maybe a chance he gets the decision. I would tend to think that Volkov would win via decision. But at a +$2, it doesn't hurt to just play it safe. But look towards Tai Tuivasa via KO TKO. I think we're getting shoeys, brother. I really do. I think this crowd's going to be hyped. And from all the other guys at home winning, I think this is going to be even a better crowd than what we were blessed with at UFC Paris.
Yeah, back-to-back stoppage wins for Alexander the Great. I think he's learned a lot from that loss against Tom Aspinall. After that, he's rattled off 2 wins in a row by finish. He's got the height. He's got the length. He's kind of got everything you really need. And Ty isn't going to go for a takedown. And that's kind of been the knock on Volkov. His takedown defense hasn't been the best. But I think this fight will be played out on the Fiend. Don't get me wrong. I love Tai Tuivasa. Well, he's funny, great personality. He does the whole shoey thing, but I just can't take him in this spot. I think Volkov is going to use his length, stay on the outside, keep the distance. I think just his overall game is just better. He's more technical fighter. I just see Volkov winning and silencing the crowd. Give me Alexander Volkov via inside the distance at -115.
Hey, man, that's so difficult for me because, like, this is probably more of a heart bet, to be honest, than it is a mind. Because looking at it, my mind was saying Alexander Volkov. This kind of like made for him to win. Like you said, no has to worry about no grappling, really. Nobody trying to take him down. Most of his stand-up fights, he's outclassed his opponents. It was all over the board to say Volkov for me. I'm just going with the fist, baby. I'm going with that. You know what I'm saying? This tie, man. That's the thing. You get hit once by him, you're like, whoa. I think Volkov he's going to get flashbacks of Derek Lewis or something. And he's going to be like, I don't want to take another one of these. And that's it. So
I would also lean over 1.5 rounds. I do think it's actually going to be a little slower than most people think. And then I
agree, bro. That is such a good take. I'll be honest with you. That's why I took it safe via KO TKO if I were to. Like I said, money is the safest because he's such a dog. But I have it on my verdict as a 3rd round KO TKO for Ty.
Yeah, over 1.5 right now is -110. So I do think it's going to start off a little slower, first 3-4 minutes, and then pick up in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I do think it's going to go a little longer than most people expect.
I like it. That was a lot of I like it's, but let's get into the main event of UFC 293 in Sydney, Australia. All right. Man, Ciryl Adesanya, he's one of the greatest middleweights of all time. And Sean Strickland, he may be the voice of the people. I don't know. People were cheering for him more than they were cheering for Izzy. I didn't expect that at all. I really did. I like the whole Crocodile Dundee hat. I like the whole vibe that Sean was bringing. Like I said, I've been finding everything entertaining. The entertainment value is what I'm looking for in this one. And to be honest, the way that the crowd seems and everything, if we had all the hometown guys win and then Sean Strickland win, the roof will blow off that place. But I got to go with what I've seen in tape. And I've seen technical errors in decision-making by Sean Strickland. It's not that he's not technically sound. His style is actually a bad matchup for Izzy, I actually think. But Izzy's going to find a way to, put fist on lip, shin on chin. He's going to find his ways. He can leg kick his way out of there. He likes forward-pressured guys. I just feel like the stand upright of Sean is what I mean about the matchup being a better one for Sean and a bad one for Izzy. But what he's going to try to do, he's going to absorb everything in the 1st round, and then you're going to see him throwing off his strikes in the 2nd, 3rd, and start accumulating. And I see a lot of people saying that he's going to get him out of there. Izzy's going to get Sean Strickland out of there. Sean is way too tough. I know the weight cut was rough for him. We saw him with the interview. But the dude, he really is trying to be like the people's champ. And I think you can respect the guy for going out on shield, but I just think he's too durable. Like, I really think Sean is going to find his way to get to the judges' scorecard, but I have to fade him in this spot because he's going against one of the greatest of all time. Whether you like it or not, Ciryl Adesanya is. I got him, of course, on the money line just to play it safe, just to get me this greenback. He's -450, too heavy. Best value I saw and the way I saw this fight break down was Ciryl Adesanya via decision. Just because I say Sean's being that tough. Izzy wanting to get somebody out of there doesn't always end the way he wants. The only time that I actually think really that way is with Alex Redemption. So if he's wanting to get Sean out of there, I think it's going to work against him. I really do. I think he should just try to let things come to him and take what Sean gives him, and that's how he can get him out of there. But if he's going to try to push the pace and try to force it, it's going to decision. I really do. I really feel that in my heart of hearts. And the safer bet is Ciryl Adesanya via decision at +140.
You were saying that 400. I've seen him minus 670 across the board, almost to an $8 favorite right now over on FanDuel, minus 750.
Honestly, and that's disrespectful to Sean Strickland. There's
I
no
don't
one
think
he
so
should be
because
against that should be that big of a dog, regardless if it's Izzy or not. I think you're disrespecting the man, big time. But
I don't, because we just saw Sean Strickland lose to the backup fighter Jared Cannonier, and in a
the
fight
fight before that, he got iced by Poton.
Exactly. So my thing is, it's kind of cringe for me. I understand his whole deal and what he's doing, but real quick, you were saying he's one of the best middleweights. He's kind of getting to that Anderson Silva statue where it's kind of like, people he defeats people before they even get into the octagon. And and the one thing I do respect for Sean, he's not afraid of Izzy. He's gonna go after him. And I think Sean is trying and hoping to get under his skin with this whole week, with this whole dog bullshit and this whole Chinese blah, blah, blah. And you could just see it really hasn't affected Izzy at all. He's so calm. His mental toughness and fortitude is just so above and beyond Sean Strickland. And, the weight cut, like you mentioned, it looked really bad for Sean because he's not a champion, and championship weight, Izzy had no problem doing that. But let's be serious. On a serious note, I just feel like Ciryl Adesanya, he has too much experience at this point. I think this is the worst time to fight a guy like Izzy, in my opinion. He's coming off the greatest win of his career, slaying all of the dragons in kickboxing, in MMA, and now coming into this fight, I think we're going to see even a more confident and more technical fighter come tomorrow.
Like John Wood.
Exactly. So I think he's going to flourish against Sean Strickland, who loves to push forward, and he kind of has a predictable fighting technique. And I don't think he has good defense. He moves his hands a lot. He's susceptible to a lot of massive head kicks. And I hate to say it, but it would be a miracle for him to beat a guy like Ciryl Adesanya. He has the length. He has the fight IQ. He has the confidence. He has the experience. I just don't see anyone at 185 beating this man right now. I think it might take a round or two, but eventually Izzy's going to put this man away. So give me Ciryl Adesanya via inside the distance minus 110. And I think he knocks him out maybe third, fourth round at plus 115.
Izzy's now made me a lot of money. And it's most of the time it's been like that, inside the distance, calling the round, calling the via TKO. But I just, like I said, yes, it must take a miracle for Sean to win this. And you're right. I think the odds may be actually correct. But why I say it can go to decision is because it took the power of Poatan to get Sean out of there. Even against Cannonier, he lost by decision, and he was in that fight throughout. And I know it was only 3 rounds, but man, as it gets to like the 4th and 5th round, that's where the finish could happen. But if it doesn't, if Sean's rocking, he finds a way to survive, he'll get the decision. That's just only I'm expecting, but man, those finishes are possible too.
Joey, thank you. Good luck. Let's get a bounce back week here down under for UFC 293. And little MMA news before we get out of here, before 10-second left segment. Grant Dawson will fight Bobby King Green. Well, technically, he changed his name. His name is King Green. And it's the main event for the Apex UFC Vegas 80. You like this fight for Grant Dawson and Bobby Green?
Sorry about that. Hey, and I got here. If you handed it over to me for 10 seconds left, man, I got my Dana White Contender Series plays. But
whoa, did you hear me?
No, I didn't. That's why my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Bobby Green and Grant Dawson, main event, Vegas, UFC Vegas 80, October 7th. Thoughts?
Oh, I apologize about that. Man, I guess they're trying to promote Grant Dawson. I mean, Bobby King Green he's a gatekeeper. At the end of the day, we all love Bobby Green, but if they're trying to put Grant Dawson in the main event, that's what they're solely going to have build him up. It's not for Bobby Green. And Bobby Green wins, it's just like he should have,
Yeah.
But if they're putting them in a main event, that's not really a main event fight for me. I hate to say it, but yeah, if they want to put them in one, it's to promote Grant Dawson.
Yeah. And our boy, Jared Gordon, he will be on the UFC 295 card in the Mecca November 11th, taking on Mark O'Madsen. Thoughts on that fight for Jared Gordon?
Bad matchup. Olympian
Really?
Marco Madsen and MSG. That's like an Apex fight I've seen people comment about, but give me Marco Madsen, the Olympian. Find a way to get it on the ground and win via submission.
Another fight announced for UFC 295 November 11th at Madison Square Garden. Matt Schnell will take on Steve Craig.
Yeah, he had a good showing his last time. I'll be honest, that's a tough fight. It really is. But I think Matt Schnell may have the ability to finish it on the ground again. I know I just put a submission play for Marco Madsen, but I might lay another one with Matt Schnell.
And speaking of grappling and wrestling, Aljamain Sterling has his next match.
Nathaniel Wood.
In a grappling contest
Polaris.
in Wales, September 30th. Thoughts on that?
Aljo should backpack.
Oh, I like Nathaniel Wood. Don't get me wrong. I think Nathaniel Wood's a very good fighter, but he's the human backpack.
Exactly.
So I think Aljo's going to put him away. Should be a good fight. And then just announced before we went on for next week's card, Santiago Ponzinibbio is out.
Yeah, I heard that last second. I mean, on his own words too. So surprising what they're gonna do. I don't know where they're going with that.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Hopefully they find a replacement. But yeah, big card next week. Before we let you go, Anthony, Joe, 10 seconds left. What do you got?
Not a problem, my man. A little rough going with the episode, but I appreciate your patience with me. I got Julia Pilastri to start us off in the Dana White Contender Series. I think she's better than her opponent. Jonathan Denise, he's got a kickboxing pedigree. I'm going with that guy. John Matsumoto, man. No way do I see this guy losing to Casey Kenny. I just don't see it happen. So I'm taking John Matsumoto. Stephen Gwynn, that's a tough fight in the co-main slot for the Dana White Contender Series. But in the main event, I can't fade my Peruvians, man. They've been burning me. I got James Lintop in the main event. Let's go, Peru.
Let's fucking go, Joe. Thank you. You'll put out the odds and everything on your Twitter.
I was just about to say, no odds posted up yet. I've been searching, but once I get them, I'll put them up, and you guys can find it there.
Yes, sir. You guys can find Joe on Twitter at 10 seconds left _ for Joe's Twitter. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, I am D-Rock. Thank you, Joe. We'll see you guys next week at the T-Mobile Arena for UFC Noches with plenty of picks, plenty of hot takes. So please follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at XKickPicks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Friday night around 5 o'clock on youtube.com /XKickPicks live. Subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone, good luck on your wagers this weekend. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.